I'm sitting now at 12:15. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to District 55 TLI on August the 1st. We are going to have a presentation today that is going to be given by none other than Mr. Bruce Garrett. Bruce has been a Toastmaster for 10 years and achieved the DTM Award in May 2015. He has served in various club officers roles as an area director and taught at Toastmasters TLI sessions and conference breakout sessions such as today. He recently completed a career in the IT industry, having been a project manager for many years at HP. He is a member of the New Brownsville Toastmasters Club and Top Notch Trainers Toastmasters Club in San Antonio. And his presentation is entitled, Using Project Management for Toastmasters Event. I would ask if you could please mute your mics so that we do not interrupt with the presentation, and he will give us opportunities to ask any questions or anything like that. So at this time, I would love to introduce to you on Using Project Management for Toastmasters Event, Bruce Garrett. Bruce Garrett, Using Project Management for Toastmasters Event.
Thank you, Rakita. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for being able to attend on this Saturday afternoon. A few months ago, Kathy Moore, she was at the time our club growth director in our district, and she is now our program quality director. But at the time, her and I were attending a club we were in, Top Notch Toastmasters. And Kathy kept talking about, as we were looking at ways to develop leaders in our district, she kept mentioning the need for project management skills. And it got me to thinking. I had been a project manager at the last company I was at for about 15 years. And it got me to thinking, as she mentioned that, I thought, I'm going to get with Kathy and see what she really needs there. And here we are today, where after presenting this to the club, Top Notch Trainers Club, I've done some modifications, and you're getting to attend this session on using project management tools to help you be an event leader. Well, look at this tagline here. As you can see on my screen, Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Well, what type of leaders are we talking about? When you look at this slide here, the organization of Toastmasters International, all the way from members and clubs, all the way down to world headquarters, you can see from this slide, there is a lot of different leadership roles. You may be a club officer, you may be an area director, division director, all the way up, international director. There's so many different leadership roles in this great organization called Toastmasters. But what Kathy was talking about, and what we're going to kind of focus in on today, is another type of leader, and that is being an event leader. If you look at the left side of the table there, Toastmasters events, if you think about just our District 55, events within our district, club contests, area contests, division, district contest, TLIs, what you're in today, Toastmasters Leadership Institute sessions. We have several of those throughout a Toastmasters year. And then the year of our Toastmasters always culminates in the annual conference. These are major events and need good leaders. Some of those roles you can see on the right-hand side there in that table: contest chair, chief judge, committee chair, TLI chair, educational session chairs, conference chairs, co-chairs, committee chairs. There's lots of those types of event leaders that are needed, and the skills are needed to be able to do that within a Toastmasters year, in addition to what you see here back on all these other leadership roles. So there's a lot of need for good skills, and guess what? That helps you develop your leadership skills. And using project management tools, I'm going to just share with you a couple of tools today that makes it easier for you to be an event leader. Look at the terminology here. I've been in the business world, as a lot of you probably are. If you look on the right-hand side, I was doing project management at my company I was at. I was a project leader and project manager. I had a project team, a team of people that work with me. And then I had a schedule to keep, a project schedule. I had a completion date for my projects. On the left-hand side there, that table, guess what? Toastmasters terminology, it's the same thing. A chairperson is like a project leader, a project manager, a PM. Committee is your project team. Your event date, that's where your schedule comes in to play. You got a project schedule. So these events that I just shared with you about TLIs, contests, those types of things, they're going to have these types of people that are needed in them, and this comparison of the terminology is very similar. So I understand now why Kathy Moore was talking about project management skills. She works in business, and in her company, she sees PMs working all the time, and she sees a direct correlation with what we have in Toastmasters and the need for those types of leadership skills. There's a lot of terminology in project management, a lot of things just like in Toastmasters. I'm just going to give you the definition of a project. What that is, look at this brief definition: a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. That is an official definition from the Project Management Institute. There's a whole organization, by the way, called PMI, Project Management Institute, just like Toastmasters International. It's a worldwide organization, and they've got standards that they have for us. And this is the definition of a project. Look at the words I've underlined there. Temporary, it's unique, and it provides a result. Those three words are key for Toastmasters events. This Division F TLI today is a temporary event. It's been planned. Today's the day of the event. It will end today. It's unique. It's not like the other Division F TLIs we've had in the past. There's always going to be something different each year with each TLI, whether it's a major TLI for the district or a division TLI. So that makes it unique. And we get a result of people, club officers, other people being trained. That is the result of a TLI. So it's temporary, it's unique, and we get a result out of it. That is a project. Today's Division F TLI is a project. So just look at events as Toastmasters project. These different types of events that I've got listed here are really where we're going to kind of focus on today, and some tools you can use if you are asked to be an event leader, to be a committee chair, to be a contest master, to be contest chair. I've got some tools that our district has provided, and I'm simply here to show you how to get to those tools, how to use them. Think about a project as a triangle. All projects have a triple constraint, what PMI calls a triple constraint. And I've got this acronym here called CST. Think about Central Standard Time, just an easy way to remember what this triple constraint is. Three sides of this triangle. You've got cost, that's the C, letter C. You've got a budget, cost. You've got a scope of work, the tasks to be done for that project. And that's the S. And then T, time or schedule. So Central Standard Time, CST, just think about the triple constraint. This triangle will always have equal sides. If one leg of the triangle changes, it will impact the other two legs. It always stays as a triangle, equal lengths of all three legs. And I'll explain a little bit more about that here later, because changes happen. And in any project, just like in life, what we plan a lot of times does not end up going exactly like planned, and there's changes that happen along the way. So we'll talk about change management for a project. Let me give you 5 skills, the top 5 skills I think of a good event leader, a PM. This first one, and I've got these in what I consider the order of priority: an influencer. You've got to be able to network, recruit volunteers. When you think about what that means, you think about being social, you think about meeting people, you think about asking people to help you do something. Toastmasters is full of that kind of activity going on all the time. Well, back in March this year, the coronavirus hit. And what you see here in these pictures is not happening today. We've got social distancing, we've got masks, we've got a real different environment that we're living in right now, a new normal, at least for a while. And if we get back to this type of setting, that makes being an influencer, a networking person, recruiting volunteers a lot easier. But it can be done in this corona environment that we're in right now. Now myself, I'm more of an introvert as far as personality goes. And in this type of setting, in a social setting that you see here, after about an hour or so of socializing, interacting, whether it's a club meeting or an after club meeting, social event, something like that, after about an hour of that, when I leave that event, I'm exhausted because as an introvert, it's not like I can't be social, but it's just a little more difficult. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she is an extrovert. She can come to a setting like you're seeing here in a social event, and after 1 hour, 2 hours, she can walk away from that and she is energized. She's ready to run a mile. That's the difference in personalities. And my point in telling you all this is whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whatever your personality profile might be, you can be an influencer. And especially right now with this ugly coronavirus that's going on and keeping us from being able to do our normal life the way it is. We're waiting on the vaccine for this ugly thing. And until that happens, we won't get back to this type of setting that we're seeing here. But there is a way still to do it. So when you think about being an influencer, these next couple of skills I'm going to list here for you are the next top of the top 5. These are the next 2. And in our corona environment that we're in right now, good written and verbal communication skills, multitasking, coordinating, and time management, those 2 things are very important. Public speaking, we know how to do that. So your verbal skills, hey, we're in Toastmasters. That's an easy one. But what about your time management? What about your written communication skills? What about your ability to handle life? You've got more than Toastmasters going on in your life. You've got work, you've got family, you've got other things going on in your personal life. Can you do this multitasking and written communication well, especially in the corona environment, this isolation environment that we're in? You've still got to be able to go and do those things. And you're just doing it more in isolation than you're doing it face to face, but you can do it. The last 2 skills in this list are where we're going to kind of dive in a little bit deeper. The ability to navigate our district organization or a district website and find these tools that I'm talking about, these project management or event planning tools, and then know how to use Excel. Now, some of you may use Google Docs or Google Sheets. There's other spreadsheets out there besides Microsoft Excel that are compatible. And these tools I'll introduce you to, these spreadsheets, they are in Excel. That doesn't mean you can't use other ones to do the same thing. So those are your top 5 skills, in my opinion, for being a good event leader. Well, what about this CST? Think about again, I'm going to give you an example of my project that I did back in March of this year. The event was H44 area contest. At that time, I was an area director, and I decided to be the chair, the PM, if you will, for my area contest. Well, my cost was $25. It was given to me by the district. They contributed that, and I added some cost to that. But just for the sake of this presentation, I'm showing $25 as my budget, my cost. My scope of work, the tasks I needed to do before, during, and after the contest, those all became the scope of work. And then my schedule. I had a contest date of March 7th, 2020. So I had to back up from there and plan and work towards that contest date. So there's my CST for the Area H44 contest. Now, getting back to this website, our District 55 website, what you see here, I've kind of spread this out, and I want you to take your smartphone right now, if you would, and just take a photo of your screen. Expand that screen the best you can. Take a photo of this because your tool for planning a contest or a TLI is about 5 or 6 levels down from the website tmd.55.org. So I wanted to summarize it for you and let you get that. This presentation will be available, by the way, to anyone who wants to be able to get the PowerPoint. But this is a summary slide here to let you find out how to get the tool when you are asked in the future to be a contest leader or maybe a TLI event leader, chair for a TLI. Now I'm going to go and show you each of the web pages for each of these steps to get down to this planning tool for a contest. First stage, if you'll look here, I'll kind of point up here under events. When you see the drop down there, tmd55.org on the main page, home page, under events, you'll select contest. Once you select contest, the next page that comes up is speech contest with all this good information. And you'll go down here to resources for contest organizers. So I got the big red arrow on that one. That's your second level down. Once you select that, your next page is going to be this resources for contest organizers, planning documents. Once you select planning documents, down level 4, there's this thing called an Excel spreadsheet version. And you see where the red arrow is there. And once you select that version on your PC, if you end up having your iPad or a smartphone you're using, I'm not sure how that gets downloaded, but however you can get that spreadsheet. This next page, you can see down at the bottom, you select that spreadsheet here, and you're selecting the file, and it will download that for you. And I recommend not the PDF version, but to go and select the Excel spreadsheet version because you're going to want to do some editing. For my area H44 contest, I took this raw file here, what it's labeled as, and just gave it my own file name. And I ended up doing a lot of editing to get it customized for what I needed for my H44 area contest. So that's the levels and getting down to the tool. And I'll show you and demo the tool here in a few minutes, but I want to be able to at least let you see how to navigate our district website and how to get to the tool to begin with. Because I think a lot of people are not aware of what's out there. Our district has got a huge amount of resources, great resources for doing all types of work within our Toastmasters organization. Now that you've got that tool downloaded on your iPad or your laptop PC, now I'm going to show you the next one for event planning as far as TLIs or other types of events. Same type of thing. I'm going to let you take a few moments here if you want to take a photo of that with your smartphone. And that way you've got it in captured in one page there so you can find your way down through the website and get to that tool you're going to need. Now, what's in red is the actual spreadsheet tool. So starting to get at the home page, you're going to go to events, and the drop down for events is going to have a selection for training. You're going to select training. Once you select training, the next page down, training events, there is a selection here midway down the page, resources for training event organizers and trainers. Once you select that, your next page, planning task list and timeline. This is your spreadsheet. This is your actual file. So once you select that, voila, your next is the downloading of that file to your local PC. And that raw file, again, is something I would recommend. Looks like they don't give it a selection for a PDF or another version. This one's a little more detailed than the contest spreadsheet, but in either case, this is another spreadsheet you can use. So depending again on what you might be asked to volunteer to do as an event leader in our district, this is how you get to both of those tools. Now I'm going to switch gears here and I've got these two spreadsheets that I just talked about that I've downloaded, and I'm going to go through and share with you, first of all, the contest spreadsheet. And right now, you can look down at the bottom. This is my edited version, and the raw version or the original version there you get off the website will look similar to this, but there's some other pages I added, and depending on how good you are at Excel and what all you want to do, you can take that tool that the district has given you and you can use it as is. And I just wanted to do my own editing. Being a PM and being a nerd, I had to get it exactly like I wanted it there. But anyway, the tool you're seeing here, if you'll notice this task list page, there's a schedule page, there's a materials page, stuff that you would need to be a contest chair, people roles. I went and customized this, my scope of work, the briefing for contest chair, briefing for the judge, chief judge, lots of different roles, lots of different pages there. But the key page I want to kind of go over with you is if you're the chair of a contest, whether it's at club level, area, division, or district, this same spreadsheet can be used. Right now, if you recall my other slide, I had a March 7th contest date. Well, they're saying to put this tool has a date place right here, this cell. So I'm going to put that March 7th date in here, and I want you to watch what happens. And with Excel, a great tool as it is, it gives me all of the dates for all the tasks. It just blows down and gives every date that I need to go and do this row of contest chair. There's like 74 rows here in this spreadsheet. Well, this is past days right now. So I'm going back and showing you what I did back in January. And if you think about your event, if you think about something you're having to plan, maybe you're asked by an area director, a division director, one of the district officers, you're asked to do a major event. And hopefully those people requesting you to do this have given you adequate time. If you're in the business world and whatever job you're doing in your life, you may see this happen all the time. There's compressed schedules. Things have to be fast-tracked, as they call it. Right now in our country, we're having our president is having to go and fast-track this vaccine that they're trying to do for the coronavirus. A great example of compressing a schedule more than what they would normally do for vaccine development. So same kind of thing may go on if you're doing an event leadership role. But I had time for mine. I had dates. I started back in January. And by the time I got to March 7th, all these different tasks that I needed to do were done. And by the way, we're going to have some Q&A here as I go through both these spreadsheets. I'm going to pause here in just a few minutes and open it up for discussion. We can get into more of the details of it and let you have some Q&A time. I'm going to finish demoing this tool, and I'm going to show you the next one. But you can see just what with Excel abilities that it has as software, that you can do a lot of good planning with this. I'll share back now to I'll be coming back to this here in a few minutes as we have questions. Let me go back to my slide deck.
Bruce, if you don't mind, I was going to ask you before you went back to that one, in the done column, what do you annotate in that column?
Let me go back and share the spreadsheet again. Okay, so Rakita, your question again. Yeah, right now, this showing X's here, this was all blank when I first started doing my planning. Mm-hmm. And as I finished or got my task as contest chair done, I would just put an X in there. It can be for whatever, editing you want to do, just to show that you've got it completed and you don't have to keep going back over it again. So all the way down, I think I didn't end up putting some X in some of these. You've got tasks that are before, during, and after the contest. And you can see as I scroll on down here, these filling out the notification winner forms, all this was after the contest, and all that was done. I just didn't put an X in here in my file. So that's what that column's used for.
Thank you.
All right, let me just go back and share my slide deck again. So we just get a little demo there on the contest tool. Let me show you again the scope of work here. And the triple constraint. You see the scope of work. You saw in the spreadsheet how all that was listed out. There were dates for all of it. My cost of the portion of the schedule and the tool that required me to go purchase or have someone else purchase stuff for the contest, that $25, we use it for some food, for snacks and drinks and whatnot. As all that happened, along the way, we ended up having a problem. As you know, Murphy's Law happens. If anything can go wrong, it will. And in your planning of your daily life or in your job, anything you're doing, more than likely by the end of that project or event or whatever it is you're planning, remodeling something in your house, who knows, but many different types of planning events that happen, they usually don't end up going exactly as it's planned. So changes happen. And I wanted to demonstrate right before the contest, trying to demonstrate this change to you. The coronavirus hit back in early March. Well, my venue, the venue location for this H44 contest was no longer available due to the coronavirus. Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, the main office there, or headquarters there on 1604 Loop, shut down their campus. And Monday, before the Saturday contest, 5 days earlier, cancellation occurred. I had to get a new venue. Our host today, Rakita Hughes, as she has access at her work location, she was able to recover me and help me recover and get this new venue for the contest for that Saturday. Well, what happened? In my triple constraint, what happened? I ended up having a scope of work change. There were added tasks for me to make phone calls, for me to do emails, for me to contact Rakita. There was back and forth very quickly in that 5-day period. I just had an increase in my scope because I had this change. What was my cost? Well, even though that $25 budget and what we were buying for food and drink and whatnot was still the same, if you think about labor in the business world, everybody's labor costs something. Well, I just had added labor as the chair to go get this new venue set up and taken care of. And the added labor there is one form of added cost. So again, on that triangle, it's the same length of the leg on the cost side as it is on the scope change side. And then time. Well, we were compressed, weren't we? We still had to keep our March 7th date, but there was, because of those added tasks, there was more time. You think about what I showed you on that spreadsheet where you had 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it calculated, you're not working that entire time on that task. That's a lead time for you to be able to get that task done. But your actual duration time to get it done may take 2 hours. A 2 weeks on the scheduled task may just be a 2 hour or 1 hour or less task to get done, your duration time. So those duration times that I had for getting in that 5 days to get this new venue set up was added to the schedule. That was added time to that, even though we were compressed and had to stick with that March 7th date. So the triple constraint, those 3 legs of the triangle stayed the same. I'm going to have to back up here, Rakita, because what I ended up doing was getting ahead of myself. Let me go back and just take a quick look and why I ended up skipping ahead here. I'm not sure what happened. One moment. Okay, we're good. I was thinking that I had jumped ahead somehow, but let me share my screen again. Right now is a good time. I'll just give a little plug for PMI, and then I want to open this up for Q&A, kind of dive into these spreadsheets a little bit better. I haven't shown you the spreadsheet for TLI planning, but in any case, this PMI, Project Management Institute, I'm a member of the Alamo chapter. There's chapters all across the country. If you are in the business world and you do PM type of work, you can talk with me afterwards, or we can get together offline and I can let you know a lot of details about the career of project management and what all PMI has to offer. And I'm going to switch gears again, and I want to go over to this other planning spreadsheet and let you see what, if you were doing a TLI type event. This one, I've just got one page on the spreadsheet. And if you'll look there, it's similar to the other one. And let's just go and pretend that you've been asked to be a TLI chair, and you have 2 months to get ready for it. Another division TLI. Today is Division F TLI. In 2 months from now, let's put another division in there and just say that we've got that event on October 1st. It's August 1st, so September 1st, October 1st. I'm going to put in that 10-1 date here. And you can see the same thing that happened like with the contest spreadsheet. The way they calculated these out, you're already behind schedule. You've got a task list here, and with the way they calculated what needs to be done in planning your TLI event, you can see all the way down. This one is a much more lengthy spreadsheet, and it goes down to 115 rows. But in any case, you're compressed the way they've got it now. And guess what, guys? You got the ability to edit this. You got the ability to customize it to whatever you need. And if you're only given 2 months lead time, if you will, to go and do your TLI event, then you're going to have to make some adjustments. You're going to have to go and change your dates. But at least this gives you this PM tool, this planning tool helps you to be able to do a better job at being the chair or whatever the leadership role you're being asked to do. These two spreadsheets that I've introduced to you can be customized to be whatever type of role that you have. The district just happened to give you one for event planning and one for contest planning. So with that, I'm going to leave this one pulled up, and Rakita, I'm just going to let you open up the session for anyone who might have questions about the details of what I've shown so far.
Okay, thank you so much, Bruce. So anyone, if you have a question for Bruce, you could either put it in the chat box. I'm monitoring that, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask him a question directly for any of the items he have presented to you thus far. Do we have any questions?
Hey, this is Alan. I got not really questions, but comments, and see if this is something that I'm taking away from this. First off, thank you. I never knew any of these tools and resources existed, so I really do appreciate you presenting this. I have a question for you, Mr. Bruce. This formula that you're using, the CST, which is the cost, time, and scope, is this something that you would use prior to planning your event, where you just sit down and write out this little triangle and then start factoring the cost and the things that you would do? Is that kind of what you do in the initial planning stages?
Well, you could really, what I showed there for the triangle and how that's like project management 101. It's kind of giving you that principle of what goes into a project, and there's a lot more detail that goes into. That was a simple picture of showing what PMI does as far as showing what's involved in your event. But as far as you being able to plan the event, you could start from this spreadsheet. You get asked to be a Toastmaster event person, excuse me, to do something, whatever that is, contest, TLI, whatever that leadership role is, you can start from the spreadsheet. The way of showing the CST was just my way of being able to let you see what the triple constraint means and what you're going to have to manage when you do your project, when you do your event. So you wouldn't have to draw that out necessarily and do it that way. You can if you want to, but it wasn't really, it just meant to kind of give you a basic understanding of what project management is, what a project is.
Thank you.
Got
And
the definition?
I appreciate that. No, thank you. Being a visual person, I think it's something to wrap my brain around. I think I really like this. So I appreciate you showing me that. And one final question, and I don't mean to monopolize anyone's time here. You mentioned something, and I just want to clarify. If I am behind on this date, or if I've been given something to plan, did I recall that you can actually go in here and modify some of these dates on the spreadsheet?
Yes, they do. They have a calculation in there. And they give you lead times for each of these tasks, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go by those lead times. Again, you've been given lots of weeks to do it. The way they did this event spreadsheet here, you can see that they put in lots of weeks to let you get these tasks done, because guess what? We all have a busy life. No one's doing just Toastmasters. They designed it to where you would, if you have enough time in planning, and your duration for doing that task could be done along the way. In a 10-week task, it could be done in 2 hours, for example, your duration time. So within that 10 weeks, your 2 hours of actual work could be somewhere anywhere along that. So they give you extra time, and you would just have to change your dates all the way down. In the case of us doing this one here, an example of an October 1 TLI, division TLI, well, they set it up to where this is going all the way back to January 1st in order to get your project done. And that's pretty unreasonable. And this may be, this could be used for a district contest or a district annual conference, stuff like that. If you think about a universal spreadsheet here being used for many types of events, then you're going to have to customize it. There's just no getting around that. So to answer your question, you have to go and put in those dates, and you'll end up, let me just see here, I'm going to change May 4th. We're all ready to August 1st. Let me put down August the 3rd for this date, and let's just see what happens. It didn't go and change any of these other lead times or anything, but what you would do is probably clear these out for an October 1st, date, and go and keep all your tasks. You may have to delete some of those that you don't need to do. You customize it however you need. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? All right. Well, I can always go back between now and the end of our session here to look at these tools again. I'm going to go and finish out and let you see the rest of the slides. So I talked about PMI as an organization. Now, this slogan that we had last year, I think it's a great slogan for our district. Teamwork makes the dream work. I want to just kind of end my presentation with you here on what organized teamwork really looks like. And the gentleman said he's a visual learner. I'm a visual learner too. And I love doing in my presentations. I love it, as you've seen some short video clips there earlier. I like integrating video clips into the presentations. And this thing of being a event leader, a PM, a project leader, a project manager, you've got to have a good team. Of those 5 skills that I showed you, part of that is being the leader with a team to get the job done and get your project done, get your event done on time, within budget, and within the scope of work. And that's an ideal project when you can meet your triple constraint and you meet the original plan. But as you know, plans change, things happen, and you can still have a successful project or event even when there's interruptions and changes to happen. So if you'd watch this little short video clip, watch and identify who you think the leader is. And this task that they do is a team of 5 people, 4 or 5 people here, I think you'll see. Identify that leader and then we'll talk about it again. This team of 4 people were in sync, doing their task when they needed to do it. They had someone that started them out to start the work to be done. And in their task of getting the stake into the ground for this big tent that they're doing there, they've got a leader that starts it, the project, starts the event, and the leader is also the one that ends the event. That guy in the green hat was your leader. He started it off, and he was the last one to hit that hammer, that sledgehammer down on that stake. So these 5 skills that I've given you are telling you that you should have to be a good project manager or event leader. Keep those in mind, because in doing all of those as a leader, this power of organized teamwork is so important. And you have to be a leader to start and finish your event and to make that successful within budget, within your scope of work, and within your schedule. Teamwork makes the dream work, the power of organized teamwork. Rakita, Art, that concludes my presentation. I can open it up again for more questions if anybody has any.
Awesome. As always, you do not leave us without any information to glean from, Bruce. This is wonderful. I've seen a lot of presentations on project management, and as it deals with Toastmasters, I love the way that you tailored it specifically for us in this role, but you utilize your professional experience to do it as well. I've been part of Toastmasters for years, and I do know that there is a plethora of information out there, but I love the way that you actually demonstrated how to get there from point A to point B, because we have so many options available to us resource-wise to know to go directly to it. And I too am a visual learner, and I appreciate all the visuals. I appreciate all of the pointing, specifically because that begins to be ingrained in my brain. So I would ask, is there anybody else attending today that would have a question of Art as it deals with project management? How did he utilize his tools? Any further questions on that? Anybody have any questions?
I had a question. When you're recruiting people to help you, do you have any tips on how you can make that process better? I always am concerned that I impose on people. Do you have any advice for that?
You bet. Again, as I was saying earlier, I'm being kind of an introvert as far as I'm not a good influencer, if you will. When it comes to getting things done, I can help, I can make things happen and get people to do things. But when it comes to a volunteer organization, when you're not in the business world and you have to have people that have a busy life to help you go and do something, I'll give you an example of my chief judge at my area contest that we had back in March. He had never been a chief judge before. He'd been in Toastmasters a long time. I told him if I went and got the judges for him and did a lot of the planning work for him, would he be my chief judge at my contest? And he agreed. He'd never done it before, but he ended up doing a good job. He learned a lot from it. He became a more broad leader by just picking up those skills. So it could be as the event leader, your project leadership skills, you may have to do extra work. Delegating is always something that we do in the business world, but when it comes to the volunteer organization and you've got people with limited time and all that, you know, it may take some bribing or doing something extra for them in order to get them to help you to do your event. And being an introvert like I am, I really don't like asking people to do a whole lot as volunteers because everyone's so busy. And in this coronavirus environment time period we're in, it makes it even harder. So that's my advice to you is even as if you're an introvert or whatever your personality is, you can still do it, and you can do it in this environment, but you may have to do some extra work yourself to make it happen.
Thank you. I had somebody get after me for not delegating enough, so it's like, okay. Well,
that's a fine line.
Yes.
And I would like to also add too, Bruce is a wonderful organizer. And a lot of times you have people that are waiting for you to ask them. And one of my tools that I go out there, I said, hey, I really need you. And when they hear that word need you, man, they just start to perk up because that means, oh, I have something that you need. I have something that I can offer up. And it makes them feel valuable. And I hear a lot of people say, I cannot refuse you anything, Rakita. And that is because everybody has a skill set that comes to the table. And I find that in getting volunteers, the first thing I said, hey, I saw you do that the other day. You did such a wonderful job. I need your skill set. Can you help me out? And they will, first question, okay, when do you need me? And one of the other thing is, how much time will it cost? And like Bruce said, if you have the skill set to make it easier for them, I'll get all the people you need. I just need you to be there to do the orientation. They're on board because what? You've just developed a team concept. And so I need you are some powerful words. So use that in your vocabulary as well.
Thank you, Rakita. Very good.
Okay. I see that we have the red light. I call it the red hot light there. And we are now at 12:02. And I would ask one more time if anybody else have any other questions of Bruce on project management, tools or resources. Okay, not hearing any. Bruce, I want to say thank you for allowing me to be the hostess. And Art is behind the scene. Art was my co-host. He was our timer, and he's taking registration for everyone. So please make sure if you called in to make sure we get your number. And Bruce, as always, you did not disappoint. Your presentation was wonderful. I will be looking forward to getting that slide deck and the link. So if we on this call want to be able to do that, what would you suggest is the best way to get you our information?
Yeah, I can email it to you, Rakita. We could use Google Docs, I guess. My Google account is it's file size is already full, so I'd be able to have to do some cleanup before I could upload it to my own to share it with people. But I can email that, and again, that's why I was hoping people would take a photo of those two main slides that let you get down to the website tool that you need. Okay. And that was the main slide of all of it, you know.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, once again, thank you all so much. Art, do you have anything that you would like to offer up?
No, thank you very much. It was very helpful, very informative.
Well, thank you for allowing me to do it. I'll be presenting this again later this month at a different division, TLI. And if you know people that would like to have this, besides just getting the PowerPoint, if they wanted to see it, then there'll be another one coming up, I think on August the 22nd.
Yes. Awesome. And don't forget to go out to www.tmd55.org and look at all of the rest of the TLI sessions, just like today. We're offering extra things out there. Even after this particular session, you're going to have some electives that are going to be out there. And one of them is Pathways for Beginners, if you want to learn that one. And then also, if you're interested in how to build a website, that is going to be in a session right after this one as well. So please take advantage of all of these opportunities to learn more. Bruce, thank you so much for gracing us with that wonderful
Thank you, Bruce.
presentation.
Appreciated it.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
And you all, thank you. Have another wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.